welcome this evening. The last council meeting of our year, so any apologies?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we received apologies from councillors Cook, Dodds, Leedham, Mail, Smith, Doyle and Newman. Are there any more from the floor?
Councillor Marston will have a message to say what will get to me.
Councillor Scarborough.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest from members? Any business required by statute to be done before any business? And to approve the minutes of the last council held on the 19th February, reconvened on the 3rd of March. Is the correct record? Yes? Any questions from members on the minutes of the last meeting? No? Any business required by statute to be done? No. Any announcements from the chair? Head of paid service? No. Any business remaining from the last meeting? No. Flag along here. Consider reports from the council's committees and to receive questions and answers on these reports, and this will go to hearing, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The report before members relates to recommendations from the Constitution Committee, which you recently met. The recommendations relate to the realignment of committees' functions, in particular in relation to the housing revenue account and where that should report. The recommendation of the committee is that the HRA decisions relating to rent should remain with the Finance and Corporate Affairs Committee, and any other decisions relating to the HRA should be delegated to the Housing, Road and Communities Committee. The other recommendation of the Constitution Committee relates to the Corporate Parent Forum and some changes that have been proposed from the Children's Services Committee. An addendum report is being circulated for members, and members are asked to consider the recommendations and if agreed delegate authority to me as a motion officer to make the necessary changes. Thank you.
Any dissent on this issue? Shane?
No, Chair, just one quick question if I may.
Yeah.
I'm not objecting to it anyway, I just wanted to check in my own mind. So if all the other powers are moving over to the new committee, does that include spending powers around new capital investments for the HR and stuff as well, or does that still stick with, forgive me, what was it?
So, with it being a finance account, any financial decisions would actually go through finance and corporate affairs, but it would obviously have gone through the business case, would have gone through housing, growth and communities before that finance would be decided.
So we're all in agreement? Yeah. And here the Corporate Parent Forum changes.
Oh, sorry, I'm doing that all together.
Oh, is that all together? That was very quick. I missed that one. Any other business required in the summons? No? Any reports from policy committees? And I think this one's Pam.
Sorry. So this is in relation to the housing revenue account business plan for 26-27. Madam Mayor, this is a report that's already been to Finance and Corporate Affairs Committee and was debated there. And this is really just here for ratification because it was agreed at Finance and Corporate Affairs. So it just is a requirement that it comes to full council. So I will move the report as read.
Any dissent from this?
Should do a
Report of vote. Really?
Thank you. Sorry. So, is your microphone still on? Yes. Thank you. So this is to agree the increase in the HRA rate. Councillor Allen?
For.
Councillor Bailey, please. For. Councillor Boddy.
For.
Councillor Buchan.
For.
Councillor Clayton. He's not here. Councillor Cranny.
Against.
Councillor Creevy. For. Councillor Darby.
For.
Councillor Doyle. He's not here, sorry. Councillor Dunbar.
For.
Councillor Feeney.
For.
Councillor Hall.
For.
Councillor Hargreaves.
For.
Councillor Harrison. For. Councillor Holbrook.
For.
Councillor Johnson.
For.
Councillor He's not here. Councillor Little. For. Councillor Moore.
For.
Councillor Morley. For. Councillor Napa. For. Councillor Nelson.
For.
Councillor Oliver.
For.
Councillor Reeve. Councillor Riddle.
For.
Councillor Roy.
Abstain.
Councillor Thompson. For. And Councillor Roberts. Also not here. A number of people we haven't had apologies for, Chair, so apologies for that. One against, one abstain. That's what it's carried.
We don't have any motions as such. And we'll go straight on to the Chief Executive report.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. The pay policy is here for full council to approve as attached in Appendix A. That just needs, if there's any concern on that, if not, we'll progress with the report. Okay, the Hartlepool Financial Inclusion Partnerships brings together key organisations from across the town. The report sets out the agreement of it and what it aims to do, and Council has to nominate a suitable representative to join as the partnership as political lead, and we received nomination from Councillor Gary Allen. That needs to be discussed by Council. There was a second report that has gone round following the resignation of Councillor Roy from the Labour Party. A number of seats become vacant, and these will now be taken up by other councillors. So adult and public health will be taken by Councillor Creevy, audit and governance, Councillor Harrison, health and wellbeing, Councillor Creevy, and planning will be Councillor Nail. The combined authority Tees Valley Board will be replaced, the audit and governance committee will be replaced by Councillor Harrison, and the Tees Valley Joint Health Scrutiny Committee, Councillor Roy, will be replaced by Councillor Harrison. Again, Councillor has to know those changes.
And we move on to questions from the public. And I think the first one is from Oliver. Sorry, Rachel.
Sorry, can I just come back on the...
Absolutely.
Sorry, Pam. What's all right? Can I just come back on the business report? Councillor... on the Tees Valley Combined Authority Audit and Governance, where the council is taking the sub seat, not the actual full seat.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Sorry, not it.
Do you have anything, Moss?
Same point, Chair. Or Madam Mayor.
Okay, Oliver. The floor is yours.
To ask the leader of the council, what specific actions is Hartlepool Borough Council currently taking to increase electoral turnout among 16 to 25-year-olds in the borough? And does the council support the principles and proposed reforms contained within the representation of the People Bill aimed at improving voter registration and democratic participation? Get that?
First of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much, Oliver, for your question and for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts around young people's involvement and the importance of democracy. And I would also like to extend that welcome to everybody that you have brought along with you. It is lovely to see you. I wish more young people would be here in the chamber and I look to Sarah McCuskey, who I've known for a long, long time, who is an incredible supporter and sort of bastion of young people's involvement. So I'd love you to see you here. You are most welcome. Please don't let this put you off tonight. Come again, come many times. So I just wanted to start by being clear, I suppose, about the council's formal responsibilities. So the council has a statutory role, the things that we are, I suppose, if you like, forced to do, and that is our responsibility to ensure that everyone who is eligible to has the opportunity to register to vote. We do this through the annual canvass. We issue poll cards, we publish statutory notices and share information through channels like Heartbeat, which goes through every door, which I'm sure you've seen, and we do so on our social media channels. That work is absolutely essential. It is a legal requirement, and we always deliver it as robustly and absolutely as impartially as we can, as is right and proper. So that's the kind of official response in terms of what our legal responsibilities are. But as a council and all of us here as civic leaders, we should not limit our ambition to the minimum that is required by law, and I think everybody in this chamber would agree to that, I would hope. And I think that if we are serious about strengthening democracy, we must do more than simply that minimum, which is to maintain the register. We have to inspire participation, particularly amongst young people. We have to give young people a reason to be involved in politics and, more broadly, political debate. It's not about being necessarily a representative. It's actually about the discussion and the exploration of issues and things that are important to you and the place that you live in. And that responsibility, I think, goes beyond just the systems and the processes. It should speak to who we are as civic leaders in our community and in our borough. We have a duty to rise above petty politics and short-term point scoring, and instead we have to lead with integrity, with purpose, and a genuine commitment to the people we serve. The tone we set as politicians really does matter. If young people are to believe in democracy and in their politicians, then they must see that politics is conducted with respect, with honesty and seriousness of intent. That means that we must be open in our decision making, we must be honest in our communication, and we must be thoughtful in how we engage with different views. And we don't always do that very well. It means showing that disagreement can be constructive, that leadership is about service, and that public life is something to be valued and not dismissed. And if you look at the declining number of people who are interested in taking a role that we all do, I mean, that is it's pretty sad, really. And I have said this before in this chamber, I don't believe that any one councillor in this chamber doesn't do this because they want to make Hartlepool better. I think we all want to do that. Above all, though, it does mean that we must consistently embody the northern principles of public life, that we should be about selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty and leadership. And that these are not abstract ideals, they are the foundation of trust. If we want people to trust us with a cross on a piece of paper, then we should say what we mean and we should mean what we say. And without it, I think participation will always be limited. And if we want the next generation to take part, we must first show them that our democratic institutions and those that serve them are worthy of their confidence, because we serve you and not the other way around. I don't need to tell a lot of you here the things that you've been doing in terms of the incredible work that you do and are doing. But I do think it's worth setting out some of the things that you've been doing for everybody else in the room, because I'm incredibly proud of the work that you guys have been doing, and I'm incredibly proud of the Youth Voice programme and the other activities. So I would like to set out a few of those things, because I think you have been part of the things that we are doing to support and encourage more young people to be involved, and I would love to see that developed and continue. You know, for nearly 5 years, young people in Hartlepool have been actively shaping decisions through the Youth Parliament elections. You've been contributing to community fora and involved in committees. You've been engaging directly with how local and national democracy works. I know there have been visits to Parliament. I know that we've had visits in the Chamber. Councillors have been out and participated in primary schools and secondary schools around democracy days, etc. I'm aware of the emerging developments around the Youth Advisory Board that I was talking to Carl Yorkson about recently through the Hartlepool Opportunities Partnership. But I do think that the conversations need to go further, we need to do more. And I think that the national conversations now need to be supported. So personally, I strongly support the principles behind the Representation of the People Bill, particularly those that seek to modernise voter registration and remove barriers to participation. But more than that, I believe we must be bold in how we renew our democracy, and that starts with honest conversations and regular conversations, and having an open door policy for anyone who wants to ask a question. And I do think that it means extending the right to vote to 16 and 17-year-olds. I am absolutely 100% in favour of that, and I think it's about time that it was done. And 16 young people can work, pay tax and make important decisions. You're already contributing members of our community, so giving you the vote is just absolutely what is fair and right. And it is an investment in the future of our democracy. If we don't encourage younger people to vote, then what we are doing is limiting the amount of people who are choosing their representatives, and that means you only ever get a certain type of representative coming forward. And that is not good for the future of democracy. And for me, if we take that step to increase voting to 16-year-olds, which we are doing, we must match it with education. And for me, that starts in primary schools. It starts by not about party politics, but it's about discussion, it's about issues, it's about just informing, it's about people understanding the difference between a councillor and a member of parliament. I can't tell you how many times people get that confused. You know, they say, why have we got 33 members of parliament, or why have we only got one councillor in Westminster? It's like the level of I would say political illiteracy is sometimes astounding, and we need to do better. We need to help people and support people to understand how decisions are made. I constantly say this, that national government will decide how much money a local authority gets to spend, but it is local councillors in this chamber, as we did at the last meeting, we decide how that money is spent, and that means that we need to do that after we've had contributions and after we've had representations from all parts of our community, and that includes young people very much so. I think if you start those habits, if you start those habits early, so if people get into the way of thinking about politics, if they understand politics and how political systems work, and they get into those habits, then they will continue to vote. And I think that that's the type of thing that education can do. And again, just to be clear, I'm not talking about party politics, I'm talking about just policies and politics in general. Like, I, again, often have people saying that they don't know enough about politics or they're not interested in it, but you ask them about whether they think their bin should be cleaned on a weekly basis, or you ask them about whether they think schools should be free, education should be free, whether health services should be free at the point of need, and they will have a view about that, and lots of people do. Well, that is politics. The things that happen to you in everyday life is politics. It's not some alien thing that happens over here. It's everything, every day. So I absolutely support that. In answer to your question, Oliver, I hope some of this has hit some of the mark, but yes, we will continue to meet our legal responsibilities. But I would like us as a council to champion that broader vision, a broader vision where all young people feel like they are part of the council and they are part of the decisions that are made. We understand that young people's voices matter. We feel confident in using them and working with our young people, and we have to give you the earliest opportunity to be involved and in shaping those decisions. So for me, that's how we build higher turnout. We inspire, we talk, we share, and we make people feel like the decisions that we're making are decisions about them and they can influence those decisions. And if we do that and we do it well, then people will want to get involved. And why wouldn't you want to be here on a Thursday night involved in this? I can't think why you wouldn't. But what I would say is, and I would put the invitation out to you, is what we need are you to help us in that. You know, we're all ageing now. We need, apologies if I've offended anybody, we need you to help us and show us how to do it better, because the ways that we think about engaging are changing like almost on a weekly basis, and I think a lot of us are getting left behind by that. So you need to be with us on that journey, and I think everybody in here would welcome that. Again, just want to reiterate, thank you so much for coming in and paying an interest, and it's absolutely delightful to have you here, and I hope you come again.
Oliver, does that answer your question?
What's that? Do we clap?
You're happy with the answer, or yeah? Fabulous. Okay, let's go to the next question, and this one is from Freddie Minton. Freddie, if you could say your piece.
To ask the Chair of the Neighbourhood and Regulatory Services Committee, what steps is the Council taking to support the reinstatement of a regular and direct rail service between Seaton Group and stations beyond Newcastle, such as the Metro Centre, given that it's such an important link for young people who can't necessarily drive and rely on public transport? And will it work with rail operators to secure a reliable and guaranteed level of service at Seaton Station?
Thank you. So let's start off by thanking Freddie for his question. I think it's quite pertinent that we're actually having this question from some of the young members here, because public transport is an issue that impacts, I think, young people more than anyone else. So it's quite relevant off the back of all these questions and about representation and things that matter to young people is one of these things, undoubtedly. And as someone who's still relatively young, at least in comparison to the rest of the council.
Sorry,
I can definitely relate to obviously my experience of just under a decade ago being at Newcastle University and making that trip up and down all the time, which wasn't easy back then, and I don't think it's really gotten any easier over the last 10 years. I can say things probably got worse. And yeah, I can definitely relate to that. And obviously, you know, Newcastle and there is around, like I mentioned, it's the closest, biggest link to where we are, and I think it should be strengthened and not weakened. However, rail travel is not the sole responsibility of this council, though we do play a role in it. And it is obviously mainly shared across the Tees Valley Combined Authority and obviously like some wider organisations as well in the North East region as well. I think to that end, I would suggest that as a council that we would write to the TVC as setting out the concerns of new residents like Freddie about the impact of this, and also stressing the importance of these public transport links to things like work, training, education and for leisure as well. Thank you very much.
Are you happy with the response, Freddie?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Whilst it's not related to train travel, which I appreciate was your question, Freddie, but I just wanted to say that there is a new bus service, service 51. Service 51 that is linking the villages with areas of the town and going down to Tesco and taking the sixth form college. So at least that is something that will help on a regular basis. And now it's an hourly service, and that will at least link those individual, like people to get to both college and to places of work 6 days a week. So it's just, whilst it's not train, it is at least a regular service that will support.
Can I also say there's another service that does help the village and Hartfield and Headland and Hardwood, it's a service 65, it's been operating 14 years and it hasn't made a penny profit, not a letter.
Councillor Little,
No.
you just need to declare an interest there.
Well, I didn't need to kick my teeth, did I?
I think it's about information given, Sue,
No.
and I think it's relevant. You declare your interest there.
Well, I declare an interest of the area where it was a kid.
Okay, let's move on. Any questions to chairs about recent decisions? Councillor Oliver.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm sorry, Councillor Owen, but this is a question to you. As we know, neighbourhoods and it was ratified at the last full council around these supplementary planning documents for HMOs, and that's gone out to consultation, and Article 4. It was something that a resident raised here at full council, last full council. I know residents are really pleased that we've taken this forward, and I'd like to thank our officers as well for helping us move this in the right direction. I think looking at and managing HMOs is a key issue for us, and I do believe that policy is going in the right direction. However, what was mentioned was, what about serviced accommodation there being Airbnb? And I think that was a relevant question. And really what I'd like to ask Councillor Little is, can we include those two areas in the supplementary planning document going forward for the HMOs if possible?
Thank you, Councillor Oliver, for that. And yeah, just to echo, obviously it's been well received so far, and thanks to the officers and all behind there as well for the work going into that. And just to confirm that yes, we will be considering that in the consultation, obviously if we're approved in the neighbours committee, obviously a later date of the consultation as well.
Thank you so much.
Councillor Butler.
Just for members of the public, a HMO is a house of occupation.
Thank you.
Can I ask if there's any dissent to that motion there? No? I'm happy. I don't think we've got any other questions coming in. So before we close, I'll move on and ask Pam, please, to speak.
Just before we close the meeting, Chair, I am conscious that this is the last meeting of the municipal year, and we do have two members in the civic chamber who won't be with us at the next one, so I hope that is the case. That is what we've been told, but I hope not. I just wanted to say a few words, if the chamber would indulge, just on those two individuals. Firstly, to Councillor Shane Moore, this is obviously I think is your last meeting. And I just wanted to really just pay a little bit of my own personal, on behalf of the Labour Group, some tribute to you. I don't think it's any secret that we have never seen eye to eye sometimes on the way to achieve things, but certainly I don't think there's ever been any doubt that what has been in your heart has been what you thought was for the best interest of the people of Hartlepool. And I think consistently you have demonstrated that, and that has been certainly the thread that has gone through your time as a councillor and as leader of the council. I've certainly seen it more recently through the Development Corporation, which we have been on for a short period of time, and I know that obviously recently you've been the chair of Audit and Governance. So I just wanted to thank you for your service, and to say that on behalf of the residents of Headland and Harbour who you have served, thank you on their behalf, and to wish you well in whatever you decide what your future endeavours. And I know you have a new role, and I'm sure you'll be great at that. So thank you, and good luck. And then the other person that will not be at the next one is our Chief Executive, Denise McGuckin. Earlier on, I there was an event at Highlight, Active Wellbeing Home, and I did use a previous name, so I was a little bit embarrassed about that. But so to Denise, there is going to be a more official ceremony where on your last day. So really, this is just this is a teaser, I suppose. Let's call it a teaser of what's to come. But I first came across Denise in 2001. When I was working at HVDA, nothing makes you feel older when you're by yourself than when you start to realise just how long you have known somebody. But that was in 2001 when I was working at HVDA, and Denise was a neighbourhood manager along with Councillor Oliver over here. And we met, and we were kind of, I suppose, on opposite sides of the trenches really then, where my role was to try and increase the number of community and voluntary sector representatives and increase representation and really to make sure that the VCSE organisation had a seat around the table. And at that time it was not the great cooperative relationship that we have here. There was a lot more resistance to that than in 2001 than there is now. But the neighbourhood managers, we worked really well with the neighbourhood managers, and we did some great things in those days. And Denise that was the first time that I came across Denise. And then obviously you moved on to assistant director, and then to director, and then managing director, and then CEO. Same job, different title. But I think, you know, at one point recently, I mean, obviously I've known Denise for all of those years, but it's only really over the last kind of 5 or 6 months that we've been working this closely together. And I think at one point I've seen you like on a daily basis, and you were, I'm quite sure, were sick to the back teeth with that. But what I can say about Denise, there are many things I could say, but just a few things to pick out. I think Denise's time has been one of dedicated service. You know, I think, again, not everybody agrees with everything, but what you can never doubt about Denise is that she will make decisions and she will fight for Hartlepool residents, and she will make decisions with what she believes are their best interests at heart. And you know, there are examples where over Christmas, you know, I think it was Christmas Day that Jonathan was messaging saying there was an awful story of a lady who didn't have anything. Denise was rallying and that is just testament that on Christmas Day you were doing that because you genuinely care about our residents, and I think that has been the thread that's gone through all of your time here. You are also incredibly well thought of across Tees Valley and across other organisations, and I've seen that more closely over the last 5 or 6 months, seeing how the other chief execs respond to you and how the other senior officers in other authorities respond, and I think that is testament to how you've worked in partnership and in collaboration. So I just think that you should be incredibly proud of the career that you have had here and the changes that you have brought about and the difference you have made to the lives of Hartlepool residents. And I think you are deserving of a long and happy retirement, and you are also deserving of never having to think of another full council meeting. So thank you again for your service, and I will leave the floor for anybody who wants to say anything about those two.
Councillor Harris. Thanks, Chair. First of all, Shane, under your many different political flags, I've never really agreed with any of them. However, I've always appreciated you as a person. I think you have a lot of really good qualities that have come out and have helped this town and this borough. And you've done a great job as a councillor. Even though we don't agree on, as Pam said, it's very similar really, even though we don't agree on the political side of things, I think we have agreed in many cases over different issues, and you've always listened if I've had anything to say, and I've always felt that you've been very supportive of me as well. So I really do thank you for the service that you've given, and very good luck to yourself. And of course I've got to know some of your family a little bit over the years, and I wish all the best to them as well. So thank you. And Denise, what can I say? So I don't want to repeat everything that Pam said, and that is all very relevant. I think, you know, you've done such a service to this borough over a long period of time. You deserve a medal, let alone retirement. And I think that the people of this borough, although they don't always realise it, have been very fortunate in having someone with such commitment to this place. It's not just a job that you've come to it, you've always shown how much you felt about Hartlepool and its residents. So I can really only thank you for that great commitment. And you came into the office of Chief Director stroke Chief Exec in a very difficult time. It was during COVID, and it wasn't an easy time. But when is an easy time in this sort of life? You've dealt with 4 leaders in that relatively short space of time, and I think you've been extremely professional in the way that you've approached each one. I also will just echo what Pam said about how you are regarded, not only over Tees Valley but nationally. You've actually put Hartlepool on the map as far as this council, this small council is concerned, because of the work that you've done nationally as well. So I thank you for that. And I want to just thank you on a personal note for the support that you gave me, particularly. Good luck.
Any more?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I didn't prepare anything tonight because it wasn't until about 3 hours ago, Susie reminded me this was actually the last one. Good old Susie. But it's actually quite fitting that Denise and I both go out at the same time, really, because I think what many of you might not know is that my story with Hartlepool Borough Council didn't start here in the chamber. It started many years before when I worked down in the Neighbourhood Services Department down Main Street as a doorstepper. Denise was my boss, believe it or not. So it's nice that we've, throughout the years, we've gone through various different guises, and we've got to this point, and at one point she was calling me boss, which was a bit of a turn up for the books. But it's been really working with you, Denise. You became a friend, and I'm really thankful for that. What was that? You said it. Oh, yeah, you know what? I've never disagreed with Denise on anything, except for that bloody Higgies thing. I'm sorry, I couldn't let it lie. But there we go. No, Denise, I know I'll speak to you at your leaving do anyway, but I just wanted to say that. And to councillors, it'll be 10 years in May, and I think that's enough for any sane-minded person. And it'd be nice to open Facebook or any other social media and not be getting called all the name under the sun or being tagged in posts.
Let me know what it's like.
I'll tell you what's actually brilliant, Pam, and this is one of the things I was going to say. Obviously, I've had the pleasure of serving as councillor in town as both the leader and as ceremonial mayor. And what I will say is, although I enjoyed my time as the leader, because we did some amazing things during that time, the role of mayor is actually better, because when you turn up there, people are actually happy to see you. Not blaming you for stuff. So if you ever get the chance, yes, but no, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I've met some lovely people through the years. I've worked with some amazing councillors. This council has had and continues to have some of the best officers I've ever had the pleasure of meeting in local government. And we should all be very proud of what they do. And in relation to councillors, I've met some amazing councillors, some not so amazing councillors, and some who are lifelong friends. I actually know about former councillor Priest until you mentioned earlier, Madam Mayor, which was a bit of a shock. But I looked after he was an absolute gentleman. Didn't say much in his council chamber, but when he did, bloody hell did he know about it, and he took notice. And yeah, so it was a little bit of a shock. The final thing I'll say, Chair, is, sorry, Madam Mayor, is building on the point you made earlier, Pamela, in response to Oliver. If we truly, and if you truly believe, all of you, in working together for the betterment of the town, actions really do need to speak louder than words. When I first started here, it was a very different regime in charge. And you could trade blows in this chamber, and my God, did it get heated at times. But afterwards, everybody would cross the road and go to King John Tavern or Jackson's Arms and have a pint or a coke or whatever with each other, because it was never personal, it was always about policy and politics alone. So while I'm not suggesting you all start going for a pint and pretend to say I would say, my only request to you is, please talk to each other, because it's the only way you're going to be able to move forward collectively for the betterment of the town. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for those lovely kind words, and I'm so pleased that in a private session we'll be doing this because I've already cried 3 times this week already. To make the decision to retire wasn't an easy one. I love Hartlepool Borough Council. It was like a sticker off. I can remember so many different things, so many memories, but, and I will cover them when we have a leaving presentation on the 24th of April for those members who will be receiving an invitation. But I can't do this job without my fabulous leadership team, every single one of them. And suddenly Gemma can't be here tonight because she's recovering from an operation. But you're only as good as the team around you. And I just want to place formally on my record my thanks to every single one of them, and know that I'm leaving Hartlepool Borough Council in a fabulous position in terms of the leadership team and with the incoming Chief Executive. That also goes to the 2,000 staff that we employ, excluding schools. Every single one of them comes to work every day to do their best, and sadly we don't have the resources that we want to do, but we do whatever we can to make that happen. And to you as members, you've supported me. Hartlepool Borough Council has been extremely good to me, and I really thank you for that. And that is why we are the 6th most productive, efficient council in the country, and that is a legacy I am very proud to leave. I'm the only one in the north. So can I just say thank you to every one of you, and I'll see you all over the coming weeks. Thank you.
She did.
And I think she may have got the lady.
She will have done. We'll get there, Bob.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Call that a day. Thank you very much.
Please stand.